say grants are pretty different depending on if you're getting them from government or corporate or foundation sources. So I think generally the most rigorous grants, and as y'all know, if you're working on this huge grant for your programs in Puerto Rico, I imagine that is 100 pages plus of a grant that you're writing right now. So government grants, especially federal grants, are the ones that are the most kind of cumbersome and have the most requirements and like contractual obligations of like what you can and can't do with the money. But federal grants generally come out of restricted funds from taxes or other sources that the government will put out an RFP. So the government wants some sort of service to be accomplished by a contractor out there somewhere. And so they'll put out an RFP to folks that align with like the scope of work that the government is trying to get done, can apply. And then corporate grants are generally, a corporation will have some priorities that they generally want some work done in certain areas. Like, it might be, so I was working on a grant for Bank of America today, and they'll accept grants for like economic development broadly. So they won't have a specific narrow scope of work that they want accomplished, but they just want the public to see that Bank of America's charitable dollars are going in a certain direction. And so you'll apply for whatever economic development project you're doing. And then foundations, I don't know. Foundations, you get into a whole different can of worms because there's, really, really personal relationships to manage with the folks who run the foundation. They're often, families that have built up wealth over several generations, and their whole family is like intricately involved in what the foundation is funding and kind of the direction that their work is going. So you have to manage like all of these different personal relationships in addition to developing a program and a foundation, family foundations. I think this is one of the most interesting things that I've learned is, so a family foundation has to pay off 5% of their endowment every year. So some foundations will pay 10 to 20% and like make big grants, do a lot of work. Some foundations, families will basically just use it as a tax shelter and pay off the bare minimum 5% so that their endowment can continue to grow and reinvest every year. So this, I've heard a lot of grant folks say, if you know one foundation, then you know one foundation, because they're all, the people that are involved in it, like really determine everything, and everyone's gonna be a little bit different. So the corporate, government, and family foundation grants are kind of the three big ones that I work with primarily.